new here, thank you for coming and joining and checking us out. For my long-term followers, you know who you are. Holding it down, I appreciate it. I don't really have much this week, to be honest. I've had a pretty busy last couple of weeks, and sitting here realizing, oh crap, I've got to get a video out for tomorrow. In case you didn't know, I kind of do things last minute. But I didn't want to not do anything. I think that would be pretty rude for you all. But one of the things that I keep thinking about is my animals in this heat. So I've got a big window that I can open to various degrees. Believe it or not, the blinds actually play a different role in that. Got a fan running, you know, all sorts of stuff. So I figured today we would talk about some heat management and some things to just kind of pay attention to make sure your collection does alright during a heat wave like this. So let's rock. So this pretty lady right here is my female blacktail Crebo. In this water dish, she can just barely squeeze in all the way. But that being said, I could do it with an upgrade. Maybe that'll be something I'll do next year or something like that. But she's been actually spending a fair amount of time in this water bowl right now because it's so hot. My room in here is getting to about 90. Every bit of literature you'll read about these guys says they don't really like it over 80. In my experience, they can definitely take it to 90. They don't like it, but they can. And so the bedding here is a couple inches full of coconut husk, and so that creates little dark pockets in there that has a warm end, a cool end, some different airflow, things like that. But it's definitely going to be cooler near the water, especially like this morning when I refilled it with some nice cool water. Oh, see ya. She's shy. She's not on camera much. But the other thing you can do is you can dump some ice cubes in there, and it'll melt pretty quick. But what it'll do is it'll change sort of like the thermoregulatory footprint of this area in your animal's mind, and they'll be like, something's cool over there. So it's also enriching to do, but you can really do that to make sure the water is chilled. Kind of helps cool some of the enclosure a little bit. I don't keep these guys on any sort of heat. They're just kind of ambient, and unfortunately when it's really hot like this, they're not too thrilled. So they do all right. Let's look at a few other critters. Alright, so I've got to be careful because I do have food thawing in here, because actually one of the really awesome benefits of all of this heat is that I can just have rodents out. And they thaw at room temperature much faster than they would otherwise. So that's pretty nice. So what I've been doing is I've been thawing those rodents since this morning. They're pretty much ready to go, and I'll flash them with some hot water later. So that's why I got to be careful, because all these animals have been smelling it. But what's really neat about these kind of crazy weather extremes is they force you to be a good keeper. They force you to pay attention to your animals. So this here is my female albino Darwin. She's got a full belly, and you would think that she would want to be digesting on the hot spot back there. But with this ambient crazy heat, she's actually probably digesting just fine anywhere. But what you'll notice is she's touching the cool ceramic. She's over on the cool end. She's near the ventilation. She's using these little bits and pieces of her environment to adapt. We know carpet pythons come from pretty harsh climates. You can look at, you know, weather readings, and you'll find that certain areas it's exceedingly hot at different times, especially during the daytime. That doesn't mean these animals like it. That means during those exceptionally high heat times, they're going to find microclimates to hide in. So the ceramic bowl with some cold water near the glass with some ventilation kind of creates a little small microclimate there. So during these crazy days, most of these animals are on the cooler end. So it's just something to pay attention to if you're sort of doing some heat mitigation, and just in general paying attention to your animals is going to help you understand them better. So when they're in different locations, they're telling you something. If it's really cold, they're going to be on the hot side. If it's really hot, you get what I'm saying. So it's really interesting to pay attention to. The other thing you'll notice is sometimes it gets too hot for your animals to really want to eat. They just want to sit and chill. So if you're going out and you're feeding and some of your animals don't want it, don't be too concerned. Just keep an eye on them. Make sure they've got fresh water. You can do the ice trick with these guys too. It's not going to get too cold for them. It melts pretty fast when it's 90 anyway. So, but yeah, that's a really interesting thing that I notice a lot. and it's just really good to pay attention to. You know, not all of these animals really like being misted, but sometimes spraying some water on them helps cool things down. It adds a little bit of an ambient drop. So there's a lot of little heat mitigation sort of tricks you can do when it's a desert where you live. Even if you don't live in a desert and it gets 100 degrees, you got to do something. So if you're like me and you don't have central heat and AC, you're playing this game. So let's look at some other critters. All right, we're going to try and catch this girl before she sneaks off. But this is one of my Madagascar giant hognose snakes hanging out poolside. You can see her little nose sticking up right there. But I will spray this enclosure down to bring up some humidity. Believe it or not, they're over there on the hot spot cuddling, but this girl decided it's a little too much. They like it dark, so I apologize for the dark view, but yeah, these animals know how to utilize their various microclimates in their enclosure just to sort of figure out where they want to be for the day. Snakes sort of spend their day thermoregulating, so they're spending the day finding the ideal spot to sit at. You'll also notice that we're up here by the ceiling, and there's cages down there. It gets hotter up here than it does down there. So having two zones controlling your racks is important. So this top rack is controlled by a thermostat, and the bottom half is, because the heat is going to read differently at those different heights. If it were all just one big track of heat tape, one set point, it wouldn't work. You'd have about a 2 or 3 degree difference, if not more. So something else to pay attention to, either run dual channel thermostats or have one for each. Just another little trick that will help you manage your animals in extreme climates really well. Something to help. Alright, and last but not least, we'll take a look at this little Apodora in here. Again, I leave his enclosure rather dark, but you can see him there. And what I find is, the way I've got it set up is the back of his enclosure is warm, the front is cooler. Glass allows a lot of heat to escape, so it kind of makes it a little bit more efficient. And then there's a gradient from bottom to top, right? So if the hot spot is on the bottom, that's going to be pretty warm, but heat also rises. So you've sort of got 4 climate zones. You've got front and top, and then back top and back bottom. And they're going to give your animal a few different little pockets. So this enclosure, I've got a hide there, which sort of covers both the heat in the back and the front, as well as giving some vertical reach. Plus this perching up here, the animal can get on the perching and get off of any heat retaining bedding or anything in that PVC. It doesn't hold heat very well, so it can actually be kind of its own little cool climate zone, especially right after I mist things and the moisture's rising, the heat's rising. This animal has about 8 different little corners and pockets to go to. So this animal is doing really well during all of this heat. He doesn't seem to be too bothered by it. And he's, showing the same levels of behavior that he does without extreme heat. So that tells me that he's okay and I'm managing him well. As long as he's got fresh water, spraying him down every once in a while, keeping that humidity up. The nice thing is, because it's an insulated plastic tub with the sliding glass, I can open this door and feel the moisture, so I know, even though it looks a little dry, he's got good humidity in there. That water's nice and cool, and he is an absolute stud. What's up, buddy? So, some animals fare better in these extremes. Not all of them do. My African bullfrog seems to be taking it in his stride. The carpet seemed to be doing alright. Oh, I missed it. I missed a good yawn from the big breeder rainbow. That was cool. That's another species that also isn't a huge fan of all of this heat. She's getting fed tonight, so I'm not opening this door. But yeah, as you can see, keeping that bedding moist will really help. But I did also just go pick up some more moss, and I'm going to lay that out in sheets, so every time I spray that down, it creates more surface area that holds moisture to create more evaporation. So it'll make my job maintaining humidity a little bit easier, and it'll also give some microclimates, because under the moss, in between the substrate, there will be some moisture, and it might even be cooler. Plus, fresh moss smells great, so she'll be enriched, so that'll be a lot of fun. So all of these things that I'm talking about right now are really important to pay attention to just in terms of managing your animals, but you can use it to your advantage for enrichment, for different microclimates, for all sorts of really cool stuff, eliciting certain behaviors, just making sure your animals are doing all right. Sometimes these little husbandry tips and tricks that we use also give us feedback on how our animals are doing. So just a little food for thought. Like I said, not much going on today. I figured I'd just impart some of my daily wisdom. It is a vlog, so I guess it doesn't need to be like predetermined and anything special, but it is what it is. It works out to be what it is. But before we get out of here, I've said in the last 2 videos I've got news. Well, I've got news. I am no longer a zookeeper. I have closed that chapter at the Sacramento Zoo. I'm going to enjoy 2 weeks off, and after my 2 weeks, I will officially be starting as the breeding and collection manager for GX3 Reptiles here in Sacramento. So we've got our current shop. We're moving it into a bigger upgraded warehouse that Grant Garten, the owner of the store, he purchased. So we've got the CrossFit gym in front, the warehouse in back for the reptiles. Let me tell you, it's some next level stuff. Outdoor tegu cages. We're gonna have outdoor ponds, lace monitors in the building, water monitors, black dragons, blood pythons, blackheads, everything, all this stuff, and we're gonna take it to the next level. We're breeding crickets, we're breeding kingworms, mealworms, dubia roaches. We're gonna ramp up the rodent colony because right now with COVID, the supply of all feeders is really slashing, it's hurting. So we're gonna try and get to a sustainable level, and that's all gonna be on me. I'm gonna be in the back of the store, breeding all the snakes, breeding all the lizards, breeding everything. We're gonna try frogs, fish, tarantulas. We already do breed isopods, so we're just gonna, take everything from here and just skyrocket it on up. So look forward to some more GX3 related content from me. We'll probably start a YouTube channel or something like that for the shop as well. But I'm going to try and get some exposure on the channel here and maybe do a shop walkthrough at some point. But yeah, that's the news. I'm no longer a zookeeper. It's been fun. I learned a ton. I'm only 31, so who knows, what the rest of my life will carry me into, and I can find myself in zoos again one day. But for now, I'm taking my interest in going even further specialized. I already breed and do social media stuff here for everything else in my own collection, so why not do it on a bigger scale and get paid for it? So that's the awesome news. Like I said, it shouldn't change much here. Scheduling might change as far as when videos come out, but I'll let you guys know. But from here on out, that's me. So go look up GX3 Reptiles on Instagram. Check it out. It's a pretty amazing shop. If you're in the Sacramento area, you definitely need to come by and see the current existing shop before we move, so you can really get an idea of the scale we're about to take it up to. So I hope to get some video in there soon to let you all see what's going to happen. And other than that, I'm going to go enjoy 2 weeks off. Vacation. Just enjoying my animals and whatever the heck else I want to do. So, alright y'all. Love, peace, and chingery. Stay cool out there. Keep your animals cool. Good luck during this heat wave, everyone. This is not fun. I know wherever you are, you're experiencing some excessive heat. So, stay cool. Stay gravy. Love y'all. Peace.